2 weeks ago in Kazaha village. Before you go, Rengoku, I want to give you this, Otsu said as she extended her hands. What's this? Kojiro asks, taking what seemed to be a bottle wrapped in a decorate paper. It's Otsu. It is medicine made from very special herb called maid sojo, the elder woman explains. It's a herbal extraction that has been used to treat chronic illnesses, including body pain, headaches, and inflammation. I want you to give this to Urushiki-san as a gift. Kojiro's eyes widen at the mention of his Okiyatama-sama's name. You know Urushiki-san? He asks. Oh, yes. And he and I go way back. I've known him ever since he was a little boy. She says with a warm smile. Really? Then you must know of the curse mark. Yes, I wasn't born yesterday, Kojiro dear. The elder woman laughs. If you must. I used to be a demon slayer just like you, back in my youth. Kojiro whined even more in surprise when the words left her mouth. Wait, you were a demon slayer? His eyes twinkled with stars, trying to imagine her younger self wielding a sword against the forces of darkness. Yes, but that's another story, she says, only making Kojiro even more curious. He wanted to know more about her experience as a demon slayer, but alas, she decided to keep those tales to herself, leaving him in suspense. Yet Kojiro couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to Otsu than met the eye. Despite her reluctance to share her past, Kojiro couldn't help but feel a sense of respect for her. Ever since my first encounter with Kayaka-kun, I've been striving to create a cure to get rid of the suffering curse, but with no success. Otsu frowned slightly. I assure you, it must have been causing him nothing but trouble throughout his young life, so this is the best I could do for him. So please, Kojiro-kun, give this to Kayaka whenever you have the chance, and tell him that this wise old owl hasn't forgot about her little crow. She tells him. The flame husher smiles before kneeling down like a knight. I will, Lady Fukuyawa. You can count on me. What's this about a wedding? Everyone, including you, turned to see a man with porcelain skin and black shoulder-length hair. He wore a black yakuta and a long white torii with the purple and pink patterns. You soon took note of the strange veiny discolored that ran over his forehead and his eyes. There was also 2 little girls with white hair and dark purple eyes standing close behind him. You soon saw movement beside you and noticed that Kojiro and the others had gathered around and kneeled down on one knee. It was clear that this man was the utmost importance. So, not wanting to be the only one being disrespectful, you got down on both knees and held Kojiro's hand. I hope I'm not intruding in your conversation, he said, with a slight smile on his face. Not at all, Okiyatama-sama. Shinobu was the first to speak up. Is that so? I sense we have a guest among us. The man chuckled lightly. Yes, Okiyatama-sama. I've brought my lovely fiancé here to meet everyone, Kojiro said. Ah, yes. I received your message yesterday, telling me of your return. Welcome back. He then paused for a second. Your fiancé? Yes, she's here with me. You don't say. Well, don't be shy, my dear. Please state your name, he asked. It became clear to you that the man was blind and couldn't see you. So you decided to introduce yourself politely, realizing that his inability to see should not hinder a respectful introduction. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name's Lin Yin, from the village of Kanaha, and future wife to Rengoku Kojiro. You said, "The man nodded in your direction, acknowledging your response with a sense of gratitude. Despite his disability, his friendly demeanor put you at ease." "Kazuna village. Ah, yes. That mountain village in Yakita. Perfection. Now I remembered," he said with a sudden sparkle of recognition. "Anyways, it's a pleasure to meet you, as well. I am Udurashiki Kayaka, the 97th leader of the demon-slaying course, and head of the Udurashiki clan." He finally introduced himself. It seemed you were right about him being important. You felt the urge to high-five yourself, but had to resist since you didn't want to appear stupid or insane in front of everyone. You couldn't help but feel a sense of vibration and satisfaction at your accurate judgment, but you knew it was best to keep your excitement in check to maintain a composed image. "So, tell me, Monsieur, may I ask who's your clan? If you don't mind," Udurashiki said. "And you're aware that mentioning clans is a way of tradition, a way of identifying oneself within a larger community." "Oh, I am an orphan, Urashiki-sama. However, I was raised by the head priestess of Yokiyama's mountain temple, Lady Fusa Otsu." You told him. There was a long present pause as you and everyone looked at Urashiki-sama questionably. You noticed the look of disbelief on his face as his eyes slowly widened. The tension in the air was palpable, as if you were all holding your breaths, waiting for some sort of response from him. "Did you say Furiwasawa Otsu?" Urashiki asked softly, and you wondered if he somehow knew your Oba-chan. Of course, you remembered Otsu telling you of her connections with the demon-slaying course, but just how deep did those ties go? You couldn't help but wonder if she had been involved in some of the most dangerous missions, facing off against the most powerful demons that threatened humanity. Just what secrets was Oba-chan hiding from you? Was there more to her past than she let on? And what was the whole thing about the Akagoko? "Yes, sir," you answered. Rengoku-san?" "Yes, Okiyama-sama." The flame pillar perked up. "I would like to speak with you and Miss Lin in private, please," the blind man said kindly. Both Kojiro and you glanced at each other questioningly as you started feeling a bit nervous. "Why in private?" you inwardly thought. Kojiro stood up, pulling you along with him as the others all stared at you too. His hand, which you had been holding, gave yours a gentle squeeze. "It'll be all right, my love," Kojiro reassures you. You nodded, and both calmly stepped into the egwa and followed Urashiki into the manor. Urashiki led you both in a secluded tatami room with Fudisama doors. The only source of light was from the two tall lamps as you took a seat on the floor. The room was filled with a sense of tranquility, the soft glow of the lamps casting a warm light across the room. It was clear that the two little girls were Urashiki-sama's daughters, who appeared to be 9 to 10 years old, as they each snuggled against their father's side. Their presence added a touch of warmth to the room, making you smile at the sight of their innocence and love for their father, as you then diverted your attention towards said blind man. "Sorry, but I wanted to speak to you about Lady Fusawa Otsu," Urashiki says. "Oh, that reminds me. Okiyama, I have brought you a gift," Kojiro announced. "What is it?" The blind man tilts his head in question. You watched as Kojiro calmly unbuttoned his shirt halfway and reached in, only to pull out what seemed to be a bottle wrapped in paper. "This is a herbal medicine extracted from Meiji Shinso, called Otsun. Lady Fujisawa Otsu wanted me to give this to you," Kojiro tells him. "She said she was being driven to find a cure to heal you and your family of the curse, but to no avail. She also wanted me to inform you that the wise old owl hadn't forgotten about you. Slowly, a genuine great smile appeared across Urashiki-sama's lips, which soon followed by tears, as you and Kojiro both looked on with concern at the sight of tears streaming down his face. Father? One of the little girls stared, clearly not liking the sight of her father crying, as she reached out a small hand to comfort him in his most vulnerable while the other twin huddled closer. Sorry, I don't know what came over me, Urashiki says quickly, wiping his tears away with his sleeve. Please, Rengoku-kun, may I have the bottle? He asks kindly. Kojiro quickly nodded before handing the paper-wrapped bottle over to his master. Urashiki's fingers idly tore the paper, revealing a smooth cherry wood gouge-shaped bottle, decorated with a hand-painted image of Yokidishito Nayori, the Buddhist god of healing and medicine. The blind leader of the demon-slaying course traced his fingers over the bottle, mapping out its shape, before reaching the tip and popping off the cap. You and Kojiro watched as he brought it up to his nose, taking a small waft, then to his lips, before drinking it. As soon as the herbal liquid washed over his tongue, Urashiki realized the sweet and tangy taste. He could feel his body pain subside, though he knew those effects were only temporary. But God made it feel good to have a little relief. Omotsu, huh? I'll have to keep this in mind, Urashiki hummed, while wiping his mouth with a sleeve. Otsu, it seems like she hasn't changed a bit. I'll have to thank her. You quickly took this opportunity to ask, Forgive me, Urashiki-sama, but how exactly do you know my Oba-chan? You call her that too? Urashiki said in surprise. What a coincidence. It just so happens I used to call her that as well. He chuckles. Your eyes widen. Really? Then you must have... She must have taken care of you. Sort of. It happened when I was only 7 years old, 3 years after I became the demon slayer, leader of the demon slaying course. When they told me the cure mark was going to kill me, and that I might not live to see 10 or even 20. So I abandoned all my duties and ran to live out what was left of my childhood. Urashiki exclaims. What? Exclaimed multiple voices in unison. Startling, you and Kojiro both glanced back to see the soji slightly ajar, revealing Shinobu, Mitsuri, Michiro, Iguro, Giyu, Sanemi, Uzui, and Kome all peeking through the door. They all looked they'd been caught red-handed stealing chocolate chip cookies from old ladies, that you wondered how long they'd been staring there. My children, would you care to join us? Urashiki asks, kindly.